There are those that just want to be left alone, and those that just won't leave them alone. Which one are you? The Ernest Hancock Show.
Yeah, which one are you? You gonna leave me alone? Totally alone? Here and declare your independence. It's all about, I'm not dependent. You can't be independent if you're dependent. If you're dependent on somebody to do something for you, guess what? You're dependent. Shahid and I are having a good time on and off the air, and I'm telling you, it's always good to have this conversation because here's someone that, man, they get it. This Patriot Act bad. Bad, it's bad. Freedom good, government bad. It used to be one bad, Shahid, I tell you. It's gotten to over the years, man. I'm up to like 7 bads. Now the thing is that I want to make sure that we're looking for a common ground here, and we're talking about the Fourth Amendment. That's a good one. We just had a big rally they had in front of the young Iraq veteran down in Tucson. That they went in and 71 bullets, man, boom, riddled him dead. And a drug bust, no knock, going kind of bam, that's what happens. Well, what happened is they had 200 people out there putting flowers on the front door, and they're having a rally at a hotel right now. Now, how much coverage it gets in the press, we'll see. Now, of course, we're down there with our camera guys taking care of it. We'll have a good time with it. But the thing is that Oath Keepers and all these guys from the right coming in, and the police state doing this, and maybe you get some guys from the left and everything. But it always comes down to, except for the libertarians, if you're going to have the police there, you're always going to have the police, and they should be kinder, gentler about their police force action. Maybe they shouldn't, bust down your door. They just, get you when they get you on drug because you were voluntarily transacting with somebody else that wanted to get high. And it's just a degree, the degree of tyranny they're willing to put up with. Well, by us being absolutely zero tolerance for tyranny, it makes your job easier. It makes you seem more moderate. And at the very least, that's kind of what we can offer in your effort. But I am looking for something that we can have common ground in, because today on Freedom's Phoenix, a popular author, Anthony Gregory, he has an article, Abolish the Police, and he makes a strong argument for just getting rid of it. So I'm going, because we went through this. We knew it was expanding. We had the multi-jurisdictional task forces in the mid-'90s. We knew this was going to happen. All the anti-militia and terrorist stuff during the Clinton administration. The Patriot Act was just a bunch of stuff they didn't get passed before. They dusted off the shelf and got, boom, toot sweet right after 9/11, called it the Patriot Act, and boom. You think these guys read that thing? Heck, I'll bet it's a decade later, and they still haven't read it. They just vote for it.
They've never read it, and there's never been a debate on it in 10 years. In terms of areas to work together, I think Patriot is a really useful example, right? Because there are going to be challenges in any political coalition when you look to the end game, right? Like once we win everything that we agree on, what happens next? But there are things that we clearly agree on, and I think that among
what I want, it's always a lesser degree of something. They should be better at the tyranny. Give me something that you think that we can totally agree on. Let's go kick ass.
Repeal the Patriot Act would be a good start.
Okay, I'm hip to that.
Right? Require, if the police are going to stop someone, that they have a specific reason to do it.
No, they make up reasons. We can stop right there because they always just make it up. Checkpointusa.org.
I don't disagree with you. I just mean to say the policies at the moment allow them not even to need to do that. They don't even have to come up with reasons right now. Right? The sort of issues at the border are a good example. What the FBI is doing is a good example. The NSA, they just subject everyone to this kind of treatment, right? And so I think that's part of the problem is we've gone from, a model where there were rights for everyone, and so police had to focus on people who they thought had done something wrong, to a world in which police just subject everyone to investigation on the mere chance that you may be doing something wrong. And I think that is a principle that offends everybody, regardless of political ideology, regardless of where your interests lie. Those are the kinds of principles.
Well, it doesn't seem to have any effect on even the Tea Partiers. A lot of that, they got elected based on this. Oh yeah, I'm not going to do the Patriot. Oh heck, yeah, I'm freedom. Yeah, pace, y'all. And they go out and then what do? They continue to spend. They raise the debt limit and they do the Patriot Act. These were all things that they were screaming they weren't going to do. So and these are the people that got elected based on that. In fact, Obama got elected based on that.
I was just going to say, I was going to talk about the president. It's the exact same thing. Politicians saying one thing, and then as soon as they get to Washington, getting sucked into this establishment and forgetting where they come. Unfortunately, it happens to everybody on either side of the aisle. And so I think part of the key here is to change the culture so that that's not an option. I think the key, you said it earlier, about making the dissent ubiquitous, right? So that it's in music, like the song that you played in the break, so that it's in the papers that students are writing in their schools, so that it's on the billboards that people see when they drive to work, so that it's in the banners that we're holding out on the streets when we're doing our vigils. There have been times before when social movements have really dramatically shifted the public conversation. Some in the not very distant past. The Tea Party did this, I think, to some extent.
But it always expanded government influence, scope, intrusiveness. It never pulled it back. It just changed the color of the frosting and smoothed it over a little bit. It never fundamentally changed it.
That's probably true, though I would say, if you go back to some of the revolutionary moments, like the American Revolution, that was very different. It's also a different situation because that was an armed struggle, when I'm talking about nonviolent resistance. But I think that resistance to the military-industrial complex and the intelligence-industrial complex do have the chance to shrink government at the same time as expanding rights. One of the problems historically has been that the conversation between libertarians and progressives, I think, have focused on all the different kinds of programs that would both expand governments and expand rights. I think this is, when you talk about the surveillance state and the police state, that's an area where advancing rights means shrinking the government. And I think that's something that everybody can come together around. Even if you're not libertarian or progressive, let's just say you're a good government person or you're into transparency, the secrecy of the surveillance state, the secrecy in the ways that the Patriot Act has been used. One of the bills, in fact, that Senator Wyden proposed, it was an amendment to prohibit the executive branch from coming up with secret interpretations of the Patriot Act's powers that are even more expansive than the law as it's written. And it's like the fact that we even need to have that debate is appalling. And so I think that these kinds of issues are the ones that really have the opportunity to unite not just libertarians or progressives, but even, people. I tend to think that anyone who's thought about issues deeply enough to care about them is going to be either libertarian or progressive, right? What we call moderate, I tend to think is, people who haven't thought enough about issues to really care about them one way or another. They're ones who sort of take their talking points from the television instead of some theoretical basis.
Yeah, those that watch Fox News. The one thing I want to bring this up while I'm thinking about it, when we had, you talked about, they get to Washington and then they get sucked in and they, whatever happens, they get them on camera with, taking free green freezing hookers or something. And I'm going, I don't think so. I mean, they are already selected. They already know. They, them, those won't leave us alone. Military, industrial, New World Order, empire of whatever, banker guys. And they can't count on you to do what they want. Well, guess what? You're not going. Now, we had here a guy, Fitzgerald, the congressman, he's big, Ron Paul endorsing kind of, I'm going, Patriot, Tea Party, and, I have two thumbs up, family, good fun, and I'm one of y'all. And he goes there, boom, Patriot Act, extension of, the debt ceiling, on and on and on and on. I'm like, well, what do you think was going to happen? He got elected to Congress. And it's not like getting elected to Congress makes you susceptible to this. You don't get elected to Congress unless you're one of the guys. And
think about Rand Paul or think about Russell Feingold, right? I mean, and Feingold paid the price for being an iconoclast and being principled. He got forced out. But I think Rand Paul, to some extent, on these issues,
exceptions
really
that prove the rule.
I don't disagree. I just think that they also prove that there's a way for others to follow their lead if we are collectively loud enough. I mean, I share all of your critiques of the establishment. I think it is absolutely unresponsive. I think the two parties have locked themselves in. I think that the game is basically rigged, but I see in the exceptions demonstrations that some part of the founder's genius remains, right? There is still some opportunity for accountability in our government. You can go back to the Watergate era, when the FBI got taken out of COINTELPRO and Dragnet surveillance got stopped last time. when the freedom of
You
information.
think it got stopped? Really?
Well, no, it's all back again now. It's all back again now. But there at least was a period when Washington tried to repudiate it, right? And
It's all frosting, man. It's all frosting. Shahid, let's go ahead and give out your website again. BORDC.org. Bill of Rights Defense Committee is how you can find him. Shahid Buttar, Buttar. His phone number? No, I won't do that. Shahid, we'll have you back.
Thanks so much for having me on it.
No, it's been a pleasure, and I'm glad we got to spend time with each other. Because you have to understand, man, I'm serious. I'm into this. I just have a lot of young people listening to this show, and I don't want them to waste their time. But if we can find something that we can do together, get rid of the Patriot Act, we're on it, man. We're on it. Truthout.org. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the mainstream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.